I'm going to talk about my 15 concepts today out of the 100 plus that we have for education psychology. I was looking through my metaphor, and turns out these concepts are already in there, and I didn't even realize it. So it wasn't that hard to come up with 15. I didn't have to find ones and attach them to my metaphor. It just kind of they were already integrated into it, so it was kind of nice. The first one that I am going to talk about is affective domain. And I really need affective domain in my classroom because I will be teaching art, and I need my students to physically make things themselves. I need them to be more abstract, use their feelings, and put themselves in their artwork. And through affective domain, we can do this. Also through art, I will use prototypes, which is my next concept. I will, for my prototype, have the most perfect example of a specific artwork. I will have a ceramics piece for a certain type. I will have watercolors or a drawing, depending on what we are covering that day or that week. I need to make sure that I have that most perfect example. Along those lines, positive instance, I will have the best example of, for example, a watercolor. If I'm going to be making watercolors, I will have the perfect example of a certain technique, and that art piece will be done extremely well, if not perfect. On the opposite end of the spectrum, negative instances, I will need to have a negative instance for that type of technique for watercolor. I need to have that example for the wrong way to do it, the not correct way to accomplish that type of technique. Also in my classroom, I hope to control the physical arrangement. I am kind of hoping to be able to rearrange the desks so that the students can face each other and communicate with each other, get feedback, bounce ideas off of each other, so that their projects can be the best possible. I will also do that to help them with critiquing, because I know some students can take it a lot harder than others. In those regards, cueing, I will do my best to have positive cueing in my classroom. I will come in, and when I am ready to officially start the class, I will stand in front, in the middle of the room, to let the students know that I'm ready. I have things set up, and class is going to start. Along those lines, with body language, I'm going to try not to hover over students, because I myself am not a huge fan of teachers looking over my shoulder when I am doing work. I will make sure that my students know that if they need my help, that they need to raise their hand, because of the amount of students that will most likely be in the classroom. If they're talking and they need my help and they're just calling my name, I probably won't hear them very well, but I will more than likely see their hand raised out of the corner of my eye, or if someone else sees their hand raised, other students may help them get my attention as well. And also with cueing, proximity, I need to make sure in my classroom that at the beginning of each project I am close at hand. I will be swinging back and forth in between my students, making sure that they are understanding the concepts well. I will be close to the tables with them instead of sitting in my office. When it comes to the middle or near the end of a project, I will be further away to let them know that they need to be able to do this on their own by now, and that if they do need me, I am available, but not hovering over them. like I will be at the beginning, to make sure that they do have that concept grasped. My next principle I would feel as a principal is intrinsic motivation. I really want to teach this in my classroom because I feel that if you don't have intrinsic motivation, your own personal drive to make great artwork, you never will. And I need to teach my students this by letting them know that there are many resources out in the classroom through books and computers and each other's minds to find motivation and, a cool creative way to do an art piece. I will let them know that, through that at the beginning of each project, I will be around and I will, be helping them a lot more. But when it comes to the middle and the end of the project, they need to find the motivation within themselves to accomplish this task, because more than likely they will have to do homework with it on their own time and not just in the classroom. Self-regulation will be a huge one in my classroom because of it being art. You need to be able to, as a student, come in and have days where you can just get straight to work. And I know that there will be students that will just come in and sit down and wait for directions. I am hoping to start off my classroom at the beginning of each semester with each brand new batch of students, letting them know that it will be a self-regulated classroom, that at the beginning of each project it will be more structured. Come in, sit down, and let's talk about what we're going to do. But as each project gets further along, you will just come in and we'll say announcements if there are any, and you will start on your project, even if I have not entered the classroom yet. Sit down and draw or paint or work on your ceramics. My next concept that I will have is constructivism. I need my students to be able to create their own knowledge. I need them to go out and find inspirations, but also create their own pieces. I need them to have that constructivism, their own knowledge, instead of learning necessarily from someone else. I want to be there for them, and I want to be able to help them with their ideas, but I don't necessarily want to make their ideas for them. My next one that I have is direct instruction. I'm going to have very structured lessons. Because it is an art class, I need to have my curriculum set up already of all of the projects that we will be doing. I myself I love organization. It will be a very teacher-driven type course, with me controlling what's going on, but very based on the student's drive, the student's ability or want to make a great art piece. So I will lay that foundation down for them to have that project, that specific goal, but it is mainly up to the student to what type of that project they will be able to create. For example, if we are doing painting and it's landscapes and I'm trying to teach them landscapes, each student has the ability to do different types of landscapes. Someone can do the beach, or someone can do a forest, so that is their prerogative, if you will. My next one is reinforcement. I need to be able to have that in my classroom because I need some sort of consequence that strengthens my students, that increases their positive behavior. I need to be able to praise them in a way that does not make them too big-headed, I guess, so they don't think that they're a teacher's pet or better than any of the other students. I need to be able to have reinforcement in my classroom to let them know that they are doing a good job, and let them know that they need to continue this amazing work that they're doing without letting other students think that they are doing poorly, and without letting that student think that he is better than all of the other students. My next one will be scaffolding, and I need to help build my students up emotionally and academically. I need to give them the knowledge and the tools to understand what needs to be done. If we are working on ceramics, I need to teach them about the tools and how they can be used properly and how they can be used negatively. Positive instance and negative instance as well will be incorporated into that. My next one is lateral discussion. I am really hoping that lateral discussion goes on in my classroom because with the physical arrangement, I am hoping that the students, if they have a question, will raise their hand and ask, and other students that may know good ideas or have a good answer will participate and answer those questions. Because I need them to be able to bounce ideas off of each other and work with each other so that they can collaborate. My next and last one is vertical discussion. I will always be available to my students in my office or just at a desk out front of my classroom. I want them to be able to come to me and have a one-on-one discussion, get direct answers if they desire direct answers. And if I feel, as I get to know this specific student, that they need less direct answer but more of a push to go find the answer themselves, then that is what I will do. And these are my 15 concepts, and I am looking forward to apply these into a classroom of my own.